quote, "The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively," or to the people. Governors have police powers, they have emergency powers. However, in order to protect people's constitutional rights, these governors are required to make sure these restrictions aren't overly broad. Many Americans believe some of these governors are going way overboard, especially when it comes to enforcement. Philadelphia man physically dragged off of a bus just for not wearing a mask. Jesus. Guy in Colorado, he got put in handcuffs for having a catch in a park with his daughter. Police have been handing out fines for drive-through churchgoers, people just sitting in their cars listening to the pastor preach on the megaphone. Protests in Michigan are growing because the governor, Democrat Gretchen Whitmer, has told citizens they can't leave the city and stay in their summer homes. Say they can't go out on a boat on a lake, or they can't buy seeds to grow their own food. So how do you fight the virus without shredding the Bill of Rights? Joining me now, attorney Robert Barnes, who's now filing a civil rights lawsuit against the governor of Michigan. All right, Mr. Barnes, what do you say in the lawsuit against the governor?
It's very simple. There is no emergency exception to the Bill of Rights. The 14th Amendment requires that the governor respect the First, Second, Fourth, Fifth Amendment rights of the people of Michigan, and she has not done so. So President Trump is right. It's time to liberate Michigan from the governor who would call herself queen, who effectively has decided to quarantine the Constitution instead of quarantining the virus. And so we have brought suit on behalf of people whose right to peaceably assemble, whose rights of their business and their profession and their occupation has been stripped of them without due process of law, and their property taken away without just compensation as required under the First and Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Now, do you believe that all of these state lockdowns, these shelter-in-places, the social mitigation, do you believe they're all unconstitutional, or do you just believe that the Michigan governor went way overboard?
The Michigan governor went way overboard. So there was some sincere efforts by many governors in places like Tennessee and Texas and some other locations to say that if you're exercising your constitutional rights, that is by definition essential activity. So if it's core constitutional liberty, it has to be essential activity, exempt from any shutdown order. Unfortunately, the governor of Michigan, like some other governors in Virginia, we're going to be filing suit in other places too, went way beyond that. She banned people from buying seeds, buying flags, going out to the park. You name it. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, she was saying, like, you can go out in a lake in a kayak, but you can't go out in a lake in a motorboat. It doesn't make any sense. So also you have situations where people are now driving past their church, listening to the pastor preach on a megaphone, and police are actually, I guess on governor's orders, handing out fines to the tune of $1,000.
Oh, exactly. I mean, in my hometown, we ended up bringing suit against the mayor of Chattanooga, where I'm from in Chattanooga, because on Easter Sunday, he told all the pastors that if they went ahead with their drive-in church services, that he would use all of his power to punish them by any means possible. And this is where, in Chattanooga, you can drive in to get a lottery ticket, you can drive in to get a liquor bottle, but you can't drive in to pray. You can't drive in to see your fellow parishioners, many of whom the only mechanism or means they had to do fellowship was that method, because they either have limitations on social media access or other methods of doing church services. This is a violation of the First Amendment right that prohibits governments from restraining or restricting religious expression in any way, particularly when they're allowing the same form of expression for things like buying lottery tickets or liquor bottles.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. I don't know what they're thinking. It's really about enforcement. It's like you're dragging the guy off the bus for not wearing a mask. He can probably just pull his shirt over his face for the duration of the ride. All right, Robert, I know you're filing another suit about people trying to get ballot petitions signed and they can't lawfully assemble and things like that. We'll touch on that perhaps next week, but let us know how the litigation goes and keep us posted. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.